Hi, my name is Sheila Karuna. Welcome to New Light Streaming Love and Sassy Seer Sheila. And today I am meeting a new viewer turning friend, I would like to say, MartyJack, who has commented on some of, I think you found me because of Jason's writings, right? Jason Gray's writings.
Well, I found both of you together.
That's what I
You and
meant.
Jason. Yeah.
Right.
You're almost the same person right now. You and Jason. You're his voice. And
Right.
I did listen to some of the interview you did with him. And
Okay. Awesome. Well, and
yeah.
we started getting to know each other. And so we decided to record. And I'm so glad you asked me to do that because, like I said, I love having conscious conversations. And I also know that for me, they always, depending on the conversation and everything, anything I've ever been drawn to, there's always been something in it for me. And so I feel like that's the case for a lot of folks. And you were about to share something, I think it was pretty profound. So I'm going to be quiet and ask you to continue on with that thought.
I'm already don't know what that thought was, but can you remind me? But let's start on the 3 questions if we can remember.
Oh, okay. Yeah, let me pull them up, at least get them on my screen. That was why I was trying to get them printed out, but my computer did not allow me to do
I
that.
remember some of mine, but and maybe, but we can, I'll ask you a question. How about that?
Okay, I have it.
Okay. So in a search for context, we don't even know our context right now, except that we're on your show. So,
right.
And that I'm MartyJack, your Sheila. I will ask you this question. Whose fault is it?
Oh, I loved that question. And I had an answer immediately.
Yeah?
I did.
I'm going to write it down.
I did not even have to think about that. Well, because because my current hypothesis of who and what I think we are.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that was why I had an answer immediately. Because the way I look at life in general is that we are all one and singular, all at the same time. It's a multidimensional thing for me when at least at this juncture, my perception of the who and what I am is that. And therefore, the answer to that question is me. I am always, if there is a fault to be assigned, it is always me. Because if I am the one and the singular all at the same time, if there is a fault to be assigned, then ultimately the answer would be me. Now,
and that's the greatest gift that we've been given, and that it's our fault. And we've been almost trained the other way, like.
Oh, don't get me wrong. I didn't always think that. Oh no.
Oh, yeah, I agree. We all come, it's a long road to get there. And then you go, oh, here I am.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and I'm the only one that I know for a fact because I've tried. Ask me how I know this for a fact. Mm-hmm. I have absolutely tried to fix somebody else.
Right.
Everybody else in my field, actually.
Yeah.
Until I realized that I can only ever do anything about myself. I can only change myself. And even that is a huge ask and a huge task.
Well,
so
I think we're in a very reflective time. And I could look at you and see that you need to go shopping more often. And I could believe that about you. But it's also true about me that I need. But if I see, oh, you keep making fun of people with yellow tattoos, maybe it reflects back to me that it's my judgments are coming back almost immediately sometimes. So yeah, go ahead and dislike that person or hate something, but it's coming right back and it's getting faster maybe. And when you're in an ocean, like a real ocean, and you're swimming and the waves are hitting you, and then that speeds up, the waves keep hitting you, that's when you get disoriented, you're out of balance, and there's trouble. It's dangerous. You are in danger because a crescendo is happening with your energy. So anyway, back to reality. So that was the answer. That's a great answer. So what can you remember a question you had for me?
I do. I think, well, first of all, I also felt like I wanted to ask all of your questions were great. And I think I wanted to ask you those back. But I could feel that you probably felt the exact same way in regards to who is at fault.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could feel that. But one of my questions was, and you could imagine after my answer about whose fault is it, that I was wondering about who and what you feel that you slash we or slash humanity actually are. And I say feel because I still have no absolute proof of my hypothesis of who we are.
Well, I know the greatest awareness is having a body, and it does separate you from the rest. We're in this gigantic energy pool. It's beyond comprehension, but we are our own vessel. I believe I am me and you are you. We can go back to the same source after we recycle ourselves, but that's the gift part. It's unique and ordinary at the same time. It's extraordinarily ordinary that we all keep doing this. There's been billions and billions and billions and billions of people, but you slowly wake up, germinated in your mom's womb, who's the one person who's most likely to murder you is your mother. And just about all cultures. And who knows why. But it's almost we have to trust women somehow or support them better. But if a woman kills a baby, I can't get between that usually. But I'm way off the subject. So we're here. We are a vessel. We are a little spaceship. We're a little mean trying to, hey man, you need a job. Because you're going to try to devour everything and put it in your mouth and then spit it out or ingest it. You have to do that. The system demands it. You don't get to skip that step. But as an infant, you get expelled from a very potentially wonderful place. It could have been a horror inside your mom's womb. I don't know. But you get spat out and people grab you and they teach you the system and you tap into the fascia. And that's historic documentation that you're breathing and feeling, and it's this operating system that you arrive in. You might be a Muslim, might be abandoned in the forest and a wolf raises you, but you start to survive. And what you're learning from your caretakers, you need templates. They keep giving you a template. You need your own template because there's so much energy. Whoa, I need a template. And you can look at each piece of the template and you can control the template. You can extract, you can leave stuff, you can And all the while you are devouring, you're also polluting at the other end. That you have created trash and you expelled stuff all over the planet. Your car expels stuff, and your rear end expels stuff, and your expiration expels stuff, and someone wants you to exhale. You know, they can find what you exhale and actually use it, and that's a good thing, and it's a bad thing. So I think we're alive.
No, I love the way you put that. My larger portion, that which, you know, I finally am getting into contact with, showed me exactly what you're saying there in a different way. Showed me, there we go. Showed me that I called us reverse kaleidoscopes, in that all the myriad pieces that we see in a kaleidoscope, that one part of us, we narrow that wide perception down into this physical vessel at birth, or perhaps before, as you said, right?
Mm-hmm.
And once I really understood that, I don't know, things really changed for me, because I started seeing just what you were saying there. And I also began to realize that all the programming and conditioning that each one of us take in, I like the way you put that, consume, right? It's so different from each other, and it's meant to be, because of that oneness. Whole point, I would think, at least part of the point, if you're going to separate from the oneness, is to have a completely unique experience to bring back. So are going back to the oneness. So why do a whole bunch of repeating of the stuff? We all get really, I did at first when I learned all the BS lies and whatnot that, you know, I was fed as I was consuming all that around me, right? I wanted to be really mad at first, you know, but I don't know. I feel a lot differently about it now. So I love the way you put that, because that doesn't carry, the way you put it doesn't feel to carry blame.
Yeah.
In the way that you were sharing that, because I have sought to understand that that is the way this works. That there's that programming and conditioning that has a different connotation to it than the consumption of what is around us. It actually goes hand in hand with what you said about who's at fault.
Ooh. And then I guess if you wanted to keep flowing, you wouldn't even think about fault, you know. And I know that was a contrived question, but you might go off into the planet and see some dog shit on the sidewalk and say, "Who did that?"
Right? I mean,
Who did that?
everybody.
And it might be dog shit, or it might be something nice, or you know. And we want to name it and fault it, and where does it go, and what does it do? And we started opening up these channels. It's like suddenly you're flooded with, I have to go down to City Hall now and swear out a complaint because they pooed on my grass. Or you could just clean it up and be done with. And maybe if you see that person, you could tell them. I don't know. There's all kinds. You enter an information flow when you choose.
Right.
Like I said in our email, we insist on choosing. We have to. But do we have to choose as much? Can we stop choosing and assigning and just behold It makes me cry. That we're already in heaven. And keep people come up to me and slap me around and tell me I'm not. I'm just a gardener in heaven. And I get drawn out by my own fault, but I see the beauty in all that shit. And it's right there. You're right in front of it at all times. And it's a long road to get where you already were. I don't want to take it personally anymore that people don't see the beauty. But I guess every wise tradition, you turn into a hermit because you know the power of your own mind, and I know the power of yours. You know, you can do whatever you want, but so can Sheila.
Right.
She can come in my house and take my shit and leave. She has that free will. And I can run or hide, you know, so we're always in that game. So that's the non-volitional living the Taoists talk about. It's not that you're afraid to make a choice, but you don't make choices until you're ready. And how do you tell you're ready? I don't know. You just do it. That's what makes you rise up. Stand up and go, I'm going to clean the porch today. You know, whatever it is. You'll rise up and do it. But, yeah, so that's, and why I think can't see it, why we don't believe we're in heaven, is you have to start by relaxing your eyes. We've done tremendous, almost like we just overused it. This power, this periscope. We fried our eyeballs out. We do have samskara, like the Hindus, we've been imprinted, and we went looking for imprints. And we really just rode hard on those tires, you know, on your eyeballs, because it connects to your brain and your whole body. And the vicious thing about a cell phone is you use your digits while you're watching it, and the digit iris connection, you think you're doing something worthwhile because you're using your hands. And maybe you are for 10 minutes, and then you're not after that. You've expired, and you're just fucking your whole system up. And it sounds harsh if I eat a Little Debbie and I say, I ate some poison, I sound like a lunatic. But it's true. A Little Debbie is poison. There's no other fucking word that can describe it so uniquely. But I love a Little Debbie.
Who doesn't? I'm with you on that.
In my life, I'll have a Little Debbie, but no. So when we learn the template as a child, we hold our body in a way where we have to accept it. We have to accept the template, at least for now. I'm stuck in this template. You might not know there's a template. You're with your parents or whatever condition you're in. You might not have legs for all I know, but you're still in your body, and you still have a template to deal with. And you can decide, you may never decide that you're in the template, and you're in this fascia. You're like, you're almost like that visionary stuff in the Matrix where you're just, you know, you are a puppet, so to speak. You're in the fascia. Your mom can control you a little bit, and your dad controls you a little bit, and your sisters and brothers. And then you walk out in your own life, and you come back, and you tap right back into that system. But you're going to hold something in your body. You're going to, you know, oh, my dad used to come up behind me and go, and grab me on the shoulders and be your breath. And it's like, you know, I'm this little kid you just fucking blew out my nervous system again. And it's like, yeah. And he thought he was being loving. And I'm like terrorized. Things like that, how powerful we are. Was I abused? No, it's not abuse, is it? But so you hold something and you stop the flow within your body. And then you go on this journey. Why do I feel bad? And they go, well, go inward. But you take it as this mystical bullshit, like, hey, I'm going to go to this faraway kingdom where they have all the secrets. The secrets are in your body. It starts with the fascia, then it goes to your lymphatic system, and then the endocrine system, and then you have all these freaking hearts and valves, and love that shit. Find out what it does, appreciate it, be with it, and you have to walk at sunrise. That's not my rule. You cannot change that rule. If you do not do that step, none of the other steps work correctly. And everyone argues, well, I don't really like getting up that early. Can we change that? Please, give me 30 more minutes of sleep. I want to be asleep. I demand to be asleep. I want to get up when I want to get up. Okay. So, relax. Do you mind if I take this call?
No, go right ahead. I can pause the recording. We have resumed.
The reason I took that call, if you don't mind me interrupting, it was
no, not at all.
I want to give a plug, I guess. Get it, especially men. Get a manicure and a hand massage, reflexologist. It'll be worth your time and money. Especially if you have a lot of energy and you just, we're always on alert and look at, it was very helpful to my state of mind to just get that hand massage. So.
Well, I love that. I actually think that's good advice, not just for men, but of course, because your focus, is in a male vessel, which reminds me, that's something I would love to have you back with me for, is a panel of fellas that would be willing to chat about, themselves and their relationship with themselves and their larger self. Because I've only really been mostly exposed to females in the spirituality realm, and not many guys have been at least willing to come forth and chat about their experiences and that sort of thing. And I have another fella who we are going to be having a Zoom conversation a week from tomorrow. Jonathan Skinner, he's been on the channel before, and we actually tried to have a conversation about it, and something happened to that conversation. Now, it could be that it wasn't time, because I've had that happen before, where I've done an entire conversation with someone and it just disappeared off my hard drive. So I don't know, but if you're open to that idea, I would love to have you back. And
yeah, we can handle that through email, I guess, the time.
Okay. Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah, when we got interrupted, I was doing the journey. Well, you often get exposed to things, how to leave the matrix. Well, people go, just get out of the matrix, but they don't tell you, where do you go? Like, okay, stop using technology. What do you do next? But the pathway back to yourself is the walking at sunrise. And you relax your eyes constantly. Don't ever lock your eyes. Keep them moving, and you have to keep relaxing your eyes like all the time. Like That's your mantra. Relax. You're winning the game if you're relaxing your eyes. And then you get told probably to your brainstem, relax your brainstem. You're torqued up. You keep going back and getting torqued up and relax that, and it goes down, it follows the whole chakra list and all that crap. But keep moving. You just end up in a space where you have to keep moving. And I can teach men. I will teach what happened to most men in about 2 minutes. Do you want to hear it?
I would love that.
And it happened to women too. It happens to people with a body. And I don't know if I can fit myself in the camera, but men are locked up. We are taught to be strong, lock up. Now, anytime in the culture you see someone doing this, and you'll do this as a child dancing, it reminds you of a sexual act.
Right.
Men or women. But it's also a very good movement to do, whether you're having sex or not. And you should do that movement often. And for some reason, there's like this disgust in it almost.
Well, we're taught that, aren't we?
Yeah, but you do it so naturally. You know that. Who wants? I don't want to see anyone do that for very long. Maybe like 2 seconds, and then it's like, but they're releasing.
Right.
They're not masturbating in front of you. They're just like in their body releasing. But if you do that for 40 years, what does that do to your body where you're not allowed to move that way? And you won't let yourself move that way. The flow is constricted. For whatever reason, maybe your mom hated you. Maybe your mom loved you too much, but your flow got restricted, and it's going to cause what some people call health problems. It's not a health problem, it's a flow problem. You're not flowing. So if this hurts, that's your clue. Every trigger that you have and every little pain tells you the road to go. You don't need to put ice on everything. You need to learn about that part of your body. Like, why does my rib hurt when I do this? Or how can I make my posture better myself instead of being forced to do it by a chiropractor? It's in your body. Follow the flow. Dance, move, whatever. We're all dancers. We're all singers. You can't get out of being that.
Oh, I don't think so anyway. Because that's, thank you. You just brought it back around for me. Off camera, I was sharing with you that this is, regardless of what I think or anyone else thinks, has been good for me. And because I told you that I hide when I'm not doing this.
Right.
Right? And I think that's attached to just what you said. Because that really pinged me when you said that. It really pinged me. There's a stoppage or a blockage that I allow myself to hide in those moments. And I'm not even really sure why, but something you said there just really pinged me about exactly that. You alluded to the blockage of flow. I have, it's not a fully formed thought, but again, part of why I would love to have conversations with a panel of spiritually minded fellows is that I'm convinced that, well, I have always been more masculine than feminine in my own body, my own personality, all of that, right? And some of that is, upbringing, that programming and conditioning.
Have you locked your hips?
More
He's
than
calling it.
likely. Oh, yes, absolutely. I have I related so much to just what you were talking about because I have a lot of pain in my back.
Oh,
You just gave me a lot to work with there. Let me just
you heard
say,
of Dr. Sarno? You ever heard
Doctor,
of
say that
Sarno?
again. No,
Sarno.
no.
He wrote the book called, well, you mentioned back pain, so I'm obligated to tell you about Dr. Sarno if you have
Okay.
recurrent back pain. Dr. Sarno actually became Howard Stern's doctor, oddly enough. Was Howard had obsessive compulsive disorder and sexual issues and lower back pain constantly. And I had my experiences with lower back pain and debilitating lower back pain. And he was a back doctor, and he would treat patients and examine them, and they were in pain, and he could find no problem with them at all. You know, some people do get injured, or you have a temporary injury where and the prescription is usually keep moving. You know, but
Right.
people like to have a rest and control their own time, but it's unexpressed negative emotion is you hide it in your body, and you have to temporarily do it. You might have saved the situation, but you hid it in your body. You might not have punched your boss in the face, but that energy that you wanted to use for that, it's in your lower back or wherever. It's almost anywhere in your body it could be. And we have a lot of, the idea is to go out and express all of your negative emotion. The idea is to know that you have it and saying, I'm not going to keep it in my body. It's
Right.
not evil. It's not Satan. It's just something that can't stay. You got to keep moving.
Right.
And so he would treat with patients, and I just condensed the protocol to I will not hide negative information in my lower back. And within a week, gone. Comes back maybe sometimes. If I have any kind of pain, that's where I start. Scan your body, scan your mind. Why is this pain here? It's not, you're not broken. You're not broken. You're not special. You just have some pain it's not even pain, it's information that you're holding on to. You held the information. That's time for you to let it go. That's the hardest act of art. Letting a lover go, letting anything go. You want to keep holding a lot of things. Your favorite grudge. That was a good one where that person really did me wrong, and I cleaned up his freaking mess. Whatever it is, it's gone. But I got stories I want to hang on to. That people didn't do me right. Yeah, I remember that guy. There's a lot
Well,
of
thank you
stories.
for that. Because part of what you were speaking there to, again, with males in particular for me, is that I feel that the females of the world have confused males to no end. I can see that in my own life
Yeah,
where, I raised a male child. I mean, for some time on my own. And even when I chose a partner, I didn't allow him to raise my son because he was a stepfather. And I had a whole bunch of stuff in my head from my upbringing about stepfathers and
yeah,
what they can and can't do, right? Or should and shouldn't do. And there's a lot of what I would have termed for myself toxic masculinity within me. And I see it in other females, and that to me confuses the male population to no end, especially the younger ones that have been raised in single parent, single female homes that are trying to be mother and father, and how confusing all of that is or could be. And eventually, that's a topic I'd love to flesh out with fellows who are digging into themselves, and you feel like someone that could offer us an awful lot of good insight into that, and even
Hey,
for myself.
do you remember your other questions?
I do. I have it right here. I wanted
Okay. What was one of the other questions you had?
to. Okay, let me pull it up here. Um, do you think time is something we move through or something that moves through us?
I don't think there's any one-way channel. Every channel has some kind of backdraft or back pull, or to go forward. You're creating a. It's certainly one of those topics that there's no truth value to it because it's opinion. So, alert, opinion alert. I I feel time moves both ways, and if you want to change the past, you interpret it differently, and that changes it. The past was changed in your mind. Did you convince 9 billion people or whatever the past changed? But it could have changed in your mind, and who else is keeping track? So I remember my childhood keeps changing how I remembered my childhood. And you can get to the point where you totally love the same thing you used to hate. When you balance it out and you realize that's how when you arrive somewhere you really like or love, you want to go back and thank everyone who was mean to you. And thanks, you got me here. It was perfect. You did your part.
Exactly. I've actually experienced that. I and maybe that's part of what went into that question, is I've had that conversation with others, and maybe maybe it's all just a matter of perspective, because that's what I hear you answering actually, is that it's a matter of the perspective one holds and the perception of that perspective that they're holding in any given moment. And I have had just those thoughts that there was a lot of things that could be considered abuse, or be considered, oh, you poor thing, you had that sort of a life. But I'm also really not just in love with who I am, but my life as a whole. And so how could I then hold any sort of animosity towards any of the beings that served to shape and form the being that I became? How disingenuous of me to have been in love with this being back here at that time, even as I were mistreated, but loving them nonetheless.
Yeah.
Right. And then realize that, oh, wait a minute, not everybody gets treated like that. And oh yeah, no, that really wasn't very nice, was it? And then hold that, like you said, obviously I was holding lots of things in my body for a long time. 490 pounds. There's no question you're not holding stuff.
Yeah, literally.
Body. Right. But in this moment of now, as I consider all of what has gone before, because a larger part of me has said, but did you die? But are you here still? Well, yeah, it was hard. Okay. Yes. What else you got going on? Where is it that you want it? I mean, what What? So I love that answer actually, because I have felt very much the same, that it doesn't really matter. And I think
That's
it's a matter of our perception.
definitely
Yeah.
like different when they always talk about life is frequency, and you think there's some like machine you can get, and like what do they call those 3D printers, like, and it is kind of like that. Your mind can convert to creating what you want. We created cell phones and we created all this stuff, so we know it works. You can
Right.
sit at a desk and create something and get people to do things for you. you know, um, the reason we walk often, and especially at sunrise, is when your eyes move back and forth and they're not locking. If your eyes lock, you're not really walking. Um, for some reason, you're locking your eyes because there's danger. But on a regular basis, your eyes have to keep moving, not stress like, not, I'm going to find everything that's out there that can cause me any harm. It's just, you keep surveying, you keep, because you are sending information back to your brain. Is there someone on the other side operating your brain? All I know is sometimes when I do yoga and I'm stretching for a second, I feel someone pulling me on the other side. It's like, it doesn't last. I can't make it happen. But it's like someone took me in just a little bit just to know, tell me that there's someone out there. I don't know, maybe I just made it all up in my head. But I guess when you keep relaxing your eyes and you keep flowing your eyes, you start realizing, wow, what a wonderful place.
Yeah,
And
I've noticed that myself. It's like the more I try to grab at it when I'm in
mhm.
that sort of a state, the less I can see, sense, feel, the more relaxed into me, which is like I'm equating that to what you're saying with the not locking of the eyes.
Yeah.
That was a message that I got for like a year and a half. Relax into you. Just relax and know that you everything is fine, and just allow it. And again, I've said this a lot because I'm still working with it within myself. I don't know if it's the body that's not trusting of it. It's a combination of both.
Well, a lot of times we learn something and then we come back tomorrow and we want to learn something even more, and we didn't really do the first one. We
It
we
hasn't
say,
become habit yet. That's what I've come
yeah,
to for myself.
it could be like, oh, relax your eyes, or drink Gatorade or something like. But it takes a while for Gatorade to work through through the system and have an effect, and all of these things. It's like compounded interest. They start with very small amounts, but you keep adding them together. If you interrupt your own flow of walking at sunrise, then you have to start over. It's like taking money out of your bank account that you were counting on compounded interest. You took it out and you spent it on something else. When you don't walk at sunrise, you're already behind. Not in a negative, punitive way. It's your system wasn't recalibrated to understand what was happening today. You missed some recalibration. It doesn't mean you'll die immediately. It doesn't mean you're a bad sinner. It means you weren't recalibrated that day. That's all
Right.
it means.
Hydration is actually quite the same, I think, because that's been my hurdle.
Yeah, hydration.
It's the exact same thing in my experience. In that,
I think a lot of people are overhydrated now. They're taking little sips of comfort, and they've gotten out of balance with how much water you actually need, because it's based on your diet and what kind of weird shit you're eating, how that evaporates your water or mixes with your water. It gets complicated, but I know some people don't like to drink water,
right?
and because there is the fourth stage of water that you produce your own water within the body based on living a healthy diet. It doesn't mean you have to chug water. It means you eat healthy foods that are rich in water, and your body converts. At the fourth stage of water, it forms channels in your body, and you've taken the plants and stuff, and you stepped it down to water, H2O, with other healing elements to it. And it's why we hum, is the nitric oxide you have available every second of your life. You can hum, and it creates nitric oxide, and it starts sweeping through your system. It goes through any place in your body, your heart, your channels, up your nose, who knows how to describe it, your arteries, and you're filled. You filled yourself with the spirit of nitric oxide, but you created it. You practice alchemy. You're always practicing alchemy. You never get to not practice alchemy when you're in a body. It's what you're going to do. You've already have automatic systems to do your alchemy.
Right. Those are actually the things that you're sharing right now are things that I was never taught.
No.
I never heard of. I didn't know. You're the first person. I'm 63 to the first time I ever hear somebody tell me that humming. I mean, I knew that singing did something to my voice. I mean, to my body.
Mm-hmm.
I've always known that from the time I'm a child. Just the feelings that it produces within my body are very, very, very pleasant within my body. But
Yeah.
I have no clue what that was about. And of course, as you get older, well, you got to put down those childish things. You don't walk around singing all day long. Sheila, what's wrong with
Yeah.
you?
Mm-hmm.
And so I never heard until just now when even when you said that to me in the email, I thought about, yeah, well, that makes sense because of how it makes me feel in my body. I was unaware that it produces nitric oxide.
Yeah, I think the Hindu Indians have always known that, and the Western, it's hard to measure nitric oxide or whatever gas you're producing. We came up with the name nitric oxide. It must mean some nitrogen and oxygen together, but it evaporates really quickly, and it's hard to measure. And no one in the scientific community, they finally learned how to measure it. And James
Uh,
Nestor and that book Breathe talks about similar things. But I have to go. Yeah.
Oh, well,
And
thank you so much for your
yeah,
time though. I really, you
I
have to
knew,
come back because you didn't answer. I didn't answer your questions
right?
and I didn't get to ask you your questions back.
Okay, let's
So you have to.
recalibrate. And I kind of knew it would be a never-ending conversation. So this seems arbitrary, but it's just like that's what happens. We
I
got to
understand. I
cut
totally
it
get
at
it.
some certain point. It has been lovely talking to you. I had no idea I would ever so quickly be on your show, Zooming with you. So I hope you keep at it.
I would love to. I would love for that to happen very
Yeah,
soon. Let me know
let me know
when.
what's going on, and I'll
Okay.
take care.
Thank
See ya.
you. Bye bye. Well, how interesting is that? Let me make sure let him disconnect there. I am so grateful. There we go. I am so grateful that Marty was able to join us. Let me see if there we go. All right, there we go. I just wanted to make sure that I was able to disconnect him so that he does not, it doesn't tie him up on his end. Wow, that was so cool. I hope you guys enjoyed that conversation. That was a great example for me how when someone wishes to connect and just begins to have a conversation, a conscious conversation. And I hope that if you are interested in coming and having a conscious conversation with me, that you will contact me. ConsciousConversationCentral@gmail.com. Wow, yes, I'm going to have to. My head is just spinning with all that MartyJack shared. And so I hope that you will move towards that which draws you in. There is absolutely something there for you, like this was for me, for MartyJack. And I hope also that you will move to that which brings you joy in each moment that presents itself to you. It is a matter of your perspective and your perception of your perspective. And you have the ability to question yourself about your perspectives at any given moment. Until next time, be well, my friends.